What's up everybody, Horseman here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you an update to my Infinity build, or I'm sorry, the Infinity Blade build, and just kind of show you a little bit of progress with both gearing, my abilities, my ability passives, my attributes, and give you just a rough demonstration as far as how it's going so far. So I wanted to take the time. One thing I must say about the build thus far is the fact that it's fairly tanky. I've noticed that I haven't been getting completely owned. I have yet to die, actually, which is fantastic. I have definitely been defeated a couple times, but I haven't actually full-fledged died. So, I've gotten the level 30 without dying. I've gotten the Act 1 and 2 without dying so far, and you'll notice that my abilities are all the same. Um, I have yet to respec anything because I really wanted to see how this would fare later on in the game, and here I am. So what I wanted to do first is I'll just go ahead and show you my gear. I am still using my... One second, I gotta say good morning to the boy. Good morning. I am using the 7th Purifier's Legion archive still. I pulled it over from my other character. It's just too good. I mean, it's like not using it is literally a handicap for myself. It's something that I earned. Maybe not on this character, but it is something that I earned. I also had some legendaries that I went ahead and equipped, and I haven't been able to find anything too much better yet. Gotta love that global life leech. It is fantastic. It doesn't seem like all that much, and it's really not, but you'll notice that it does make a bit of difference, especially when I'm swinging those Infinity Blades real quick. Added some gems like material resistance scores, health, physical resistance scores, and I've just kind of looked at what I was getting my butt whipped with and decided to kind of go with that. I also added some extra Aether damage on top of the occult damage, so I have been looking for occult percentage ups because of the fact that Aether Blades is considered occult damage. At least I believe it is. I want to say it is. None of these abilities actually say what type of damage it does. Like, I would assume that Lightbringer does sacred damage, That's one of the things that I really don't like about these tooltips, is that they don't tell you what type of damage that you're actually doing. You have to come to some type of assumption. My Wrath of Bafeth, I would assume, is going to be material damage. So, you just kind of have to go with what you think is working. Wish it was different. The sword that I am using, I was using the dagger. I was using this, the Edict 2.1.417. It is outstanding. It did a great job, even though my total, or the actual damage output, the total damage there is a little bit less. I have noticed that, or according to my paper stats, this sword does a little bit more. So I'm going with that for right now. I'm going to test it out, see what it's like. I can put this right here just to see if it's going to still be the same later on, or still be just as good. And I just honestly wanted an excuse to use a sword because I've noticed that daggers seem to be hitting harder than other one-handed weapons, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Okay. So let's get into my attributes. I have put a lot of points into my ferocity for that spell critical damage scores, attack critical damage scores that will affect both my Infinity Blades as well as my Wrath of Bafeth, my Lightbringer, and my Anomaly. My Anomaly especially, because I want my Anomaly doing as much damage as it can. It's that damage over time. It's very useful against bosses, and especially useful against groups of bad guys. So I want to make sure that I have a good amount of damage going into there. And I've also been focusing on my toughness because I got the Act 3 boss coming up here pretty soon, and that boss is no joke. So I want to make sure that I'm well prepared for it. My details here, you notice that my average damage right now is sitting at 1907 with a good amount of damage on all these parts. My resistances are still a little bit on the low side, which is why that going forward I'm going to be focusing on my defensive capabilities in my passive tree. My skills. So, let's start with Infinity Blades. Ooh, I guess the something I can use. Okay. So what I've got going on here is I have my... Not too much has changed, let's just put it that way. The main things that have changed so far is that I've got the material sinkhole. Adds a debuff that it increases damage taken by spells, so each time that I attack bad guys, I'm going to be doing even more damage with my spells. Of course, there's a chance that it'll apply this debuff, and but the longer I'm hitting on an enemy, the more damage I'm going to want to do on it. And considering that I've got a bunch of abilities that are spells, being able to do more damage with spells is very beneficial. So, gain willpower each time an enemy's killed. Willpower generated on critical hit. That's really what's going to benefit me the most on single target. This is going to help me in larger groups of mobs. As I'm taking them out, I'm getting that willpower back. Increased damage dealt while force shield is not empty, and I'm hoping that I can keep that as full as I possibly can. Chance to spawn a ghost ally. I don't really see a great benefit in that. There are definitely... That doesn't really help me. Okay. I can either do that or do this. You know what? Increases damage on the next attack after using the skill. So does that mean my other attack too? Like more infinity attacks? I'll test these two out and see what I see benefit. Gains an additional attack on the melee combo. I don't know. I think that one's going to end up being better. Alright. My Wrath of Bafith. I really enjoy this ability. I'm not going to lie. It does a great job in helping me replenish my willpower when I have too much rage. So I go in there and start swinging. And it just looks cool. Very reminiscent of God of War. If you've ever played those games, it's fantastic. So not too much difference here. I think the big one is the Blood Brothers grants life leech buff to yourself and allies. So again, I'm all about that life leech. The Wings of Ishmir. I haven't been messing around with this too much either. Stun chance. I like that. I like that. Gotta get that stun chance in there. I don't agree with that so much. Increased threat generation. Don't really care about that. I gotta have my stamina points, I'm not gonna lie, so I really wouldn't want to benefit from that. Now that would be cool. That would be cool. Maybe I'll work towards that later on. Okay, but being able to pull those enemies in right before I land, that's kind of cool. I don't use it very often, to be honest, so, but I would like to be able to have that stun chance. I'm not sure if this is going to apply to bosses or not. Okay, so Lightbringer. This is another movement slash damage ability that I have it set to where it's going to leave something behind, and like a small circle, and it does a good amount of damage when it does it. Grants resistance for each enemy upon landing. No. Grants an additional charge level. I don't really have charges on it, so. See, this right here would be beneficial. But I don't really want to give up anything else. So maybe I'll bring that in later on. Average damage. Yeah, those would be helpful later on as well, but nothing too crazy. Alright, and Anomaly. This is probably one of my more favorite abilities in this build, is Anomaly. I think it is absolutely fantastic. I'm sorry, but I really love Anomaly. I have it set to where it pulls in enemies. Where is it at? Enemies are damaged when they pulled in by the vortex. That is great. It does that much more damage, pulls everybody together, and I follow up with a nice Lightbringer, and I just start swinging, and these fools, they just die. Globes pulled into damage vortex explode. That doesn't happen enough for me to want to do that. This would be nice to do later on as well. The skill allows the casting of 2 vortexes. Are you kidding me? That would be great. I will definitely wait till I get an extra point maybe I can grab myself an extra point right now.
Well, there goes
So
my
let me do that.
concentration. How can I help you?
Okay, duplicated skills. I still don't know exactly how this works. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, maybe you have to be level 90 or something. Okay, don't have any more. So let's see if I was able to get another point. No. Dang. Okay. Alrighty. Oh well. I'll have to use it more and level it up more. Okay, so that was that. Now the most important part, those passes tree. I'm not gonna say not much has changed. Of course things have changed. The original go about is still there. I definitely did a focus on my spell damage. Okay. Spell cost reductions I've absolutely focused on. One of the things that I do need to focus more on is my health and my ability to do resistances. I have not yet chosen exactly what path I want to do for my third ring. I figured that will come later. There's a lot of benefits to be had down here, and there's a lot of benefits to be had in other areas as well. So I think by the time I get to the Act 3 boss, I'll have a greater focus on my defensive abilities over here, and then a couple of abilities over here, or passives over here, but before I start branching out too much further. And that's mostly because I want to make sure that I have good passes. I can get some extra damage to my spells. Can buff up my force shields because I know that the last boss hits really hard, and that thing is no joke. So I don't really want to mess around too much. I didn't delve too much more into the Sentinel branch here. I did focus more on the Scholar and the Kabbalist, and I started branching out to the Soldier. So, like I said, I haven't really thought about too much. I mean, I've been kind of looking to see what I might like, what I might not like, but I haven't really decided on any one particular thing yet when it comes to the third ring. Nothing has like said wow to me just yet, so it might take some time to really confirm that and try to figure that out. So more to follow. You'll probably see an endgame build later on. Yes, you can rotate them, Raphael Gaming, and you do it so you can select the ring right here, and you can just simply do this. So that's one thing that is really nice about this game, is that, I mean, you have just so much freedom with that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get on with the demonstration. And by the way, I am in Act 3, so if you don't want any type of spoilers, then it might be a good idea to go ahead and leave. So I'm not near the end boss just yet, but I'm getting there.
Can't be done.
So, you know, that was fun. Play it blind? I don't see why not. I mean,
Can't be done.
you know, it's, especially if you're new to RPGs, I mean, trying to figure out how you want to allocate points is always difficult, and I get it, but you know, the beautiful thing about Wolcen is that unlike other ARPGs like Diablo and especially Path of Exile, there's a ton of freedom, and if you mess up, you can go down here, reset all your attribute points for money, reset your passives for primordial essence, and this is more, higher level, so of course, the more points you dump into it,
Can't manage that
the more
right
it's
now.
going to cost. When you first start off, it doesn't cost that much. And you can go back and tweak things. And also, one thing that you must understand too is that it doesn't matter what you choose in the beginning. You can choose a melee character in the beginning and make that character into a sorcerer. It doesn't matter. The only thing it does is allow you to choose your starting weapon and your starting ability. So, to go into this game blind, I'd say that if there was any one game to go into an RPG or ARPG blind, this is it, because pretty much any build is viable. So, and then as you go, you start getting the hang of it, how the different stats affect your ability to perform, both survivability and your attack ability. So, yeah. It doesn't have a huge learning curve. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I cannot play games like PoE. I mean, Path of Exile. I am terrible at it. I don't understand the skill tree. I don't have time to sit there and figure it out, so, I mean, I always borrow builds. And it's frustrating because, I don't feel like I have the same kind of freedom with that. And not only that, but what I have observed with PoE is that if you don't build it almost exactly right, then you can't respec, and you're pretty much screwed later on. You might work out really good in the beginning, but then come to end game, and you get your ass handed to you, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't fix it. So that's one of the things I really, really, really love about this game, is that you have a lot of freedom. I mean, if you really want to go like super easy mode in terms of character development, just to get you the hang of things, Diablo 3 is also a good way to start, but your own builds typically can't get you into real far in endgame content. That's the only bad thing, because it is very much a cookie cutter build type of game. I don't think they've fully fleshed out endgame in this game yet either. I mean, it's decent. It's very reminiscent of how endgame is in Diablo, but it still has a little bit to be
Not
desired.
possible.
All right, just hit 41. That means I have some stuff that I can try to see if I can equip. Witcher is a great game, and it is very relaxing. Later on in the game, like when you get to the third act, that map is ridiculous. I mean, I believe it's. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Witcher is such a good game. All right, did you start playing it because of the Netflix series?
Please, come again.
Check out some of this stuff and see if it's going to be useful to me. Got lots of stuff here. Yeah, I also don't like when I get frustration in a game. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't play games to get frustrated. Ooh, 8,690. No, that's my health. Whew, I thought that was my damage. I was like, holy moly. Alright, so I got some bonuses there. That's nice. I was able to upgrade some of my equipment there. Some of it, not all of it. I need to take some of these things out. Oh, nice. Blood and Wine is the only DLC that I have not yet completed, and it's funny because
Ah, so
those
you wish to
DLCs came
harness the
out
secret power of gems?
long after the game, long after I finished the game the first time around. So it was very hard for me to get into it again. And even now, it's like I just recently bought Blood and Wine, and it's just like I'm higher level. I've already completed the main story, and I have no idea how to play. So getting back into it is just like rough, to say the least. Is that defensive 2? Yeah, go ahead and do that. So I got a little bit of an increase in my damage output. Yeah, the Netflix series is actually really good. I'm very much impressed, because I was not impressed with Mandalorian. Hopefully it gets better. I think it had a lot of issues. But Witcher was
Welcome to
very
my
enjoyable.
humble stand.
Looking forward to more of that. Alright, got leveled up, so let me go ahead and get some more bonuses. I eventually want to get this right here. Yes. So I'll probably die a lot. Yes. You got a bad ending. Yeah, I definitely worked towards a better ending. But one thing that's fantastic about The Witcher Wild Hunt is that, and it is a theme that is very apparent in the series as well, is that the choices you make are not inherently evil, not inherently good, but they have very different end results. So you might be thinking, like, for instance, when you're in the woods with those 3 witches, you have the choice to save the wife or the kids or something like that, or you can let go, you can let the demon go, or you can kill it, and the demon pleads with you, and you know, makes a deal with you, and it's hard to choose. And when you think that you made a good choice for everybody, it ends up turning out to, you know, affect somebody else negatively, and you're just like, oh crap, man, didn't think about what that would do, and vice versa, and that's what I really like about it. I mean, who's to say that the other choice that you could have made would have ended really any different, you know? And I mean, it might be different, but it could be just as morally devastating. Yes, I am trying to build stick figures with this. I'm trying to make an angry face as indicative of the anger that I've been getting at work lately because of Goblockness. Alright. Moving on. Alright. Now, Raphael, one thing I will say is that when you do, I mean, it's good that you're watching, you know, videos. I mean, I'm not the greatest player in the world by any shadow of a doubt, but one thing that you should definitely do is kind of have an idea as to where you want to go. The abilities that you get are going to be drops, or you can purchase them from Dimitra in the city. And if you have an idea as to where you want to go, it's nice to have that path going forward. But if later on you decide you want to go a completely different path, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And
That's not happening.
you can change all your abilities, the type of weapon you use, and everything in between, and you don't get penalized for it. So just keep that in mind. This is a great game to just play around in.
Not possible.
even mention work, yeah. You know, I typically don't even think about work when I'm off duty, but these last couple weeks have been brutal.
That's not happening.
Offline is actually very enjoyable. This is offline. Right now, I don't see a benefit to being online, other than lag and the fact that there's a chance that the server could be down and you don't have access to your characters. Right now, there's too many issues with online. They have fixed a lot of them, don't get me wrong. But you know, I'm not playing the game with anybody. There's no clans, there's no guilds. So I don't really see the benefit in playing online yet. Not only that, but being offline, it's a lot easier to experiment with different things. So, I mean, take it for what it is. I'm not a huge fan of playing with other folks anyway. I mean, even in Diablo 3, you know, I led a clan. I owned a clan. I have quite a few people in it. And I'm very active talking to them and interacting with folks, but I rarely play with people. I like to play my own way.
Father, why did you send Edric after me?
You were interfering with the Covenant of the Blind when Udai was corrupting Anankis. The Blind Prince whispers were too strong. You had to be stopped.
That's not happening.
Also, I manage a Facebook page. Oh boy, I have to remember what I called it. I know SOA Horseman is my
I need more power.
Borderlands 3 page. I want to say SOA Clan, something like that. You can probably just do a search for SOA, where my clan one is for Diablo 3 and other ARPG news. So if you want to follow that, I put a plethora of information in there related to pretty much all things ARPG. I have I link videos there that I find interesting or helpful for pretty much any ARPG that I'm currently engaging in. Of course, I also see it as a place where you can go through and ask questions, have discussions. If there's something you want to know more about, then you know, I have no problem going. I'm very active on it, so if there's a question that's posted there, I typically answer it within a couple hours. Yeah, and I like the story of this game too. I mean, it's very interesting. It's not the best. I mean, ARPGs typically don't have the best stories in the world. It's all about the loot and how quickly you can get shit killed. So, you know, I get it. This does have good gameplay. This is probably one of the best gameplay ARPGs that I have played in quite some time. Grim Dawn is also a great game to play, but it can get very confusing in terms of how to build a character, because you know, the stats are so incredibly varied, the abilities are so incredibly varied, and it's kind of hard to get into that game, but it's enjoyable. It has a decent story, and it's fun to play. The loot is fantastic, so and the customization that you can do in that game is also just amazing. Alright, no problem, Raphael. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your kind words. Take it easy. Was that a green drop? Green drops are what's called... Did I pick it up? There are green drops. They are in the form of reagents for crafting, and I say that with a question because it's not really crafting. You can say you don't like the stats of a certain item, you can reroll those stats, or you can apply it in accordance with whatever gen that you have in there. Like add a line, or if you're not already maxed out on the amount of bonuses or modifiers to that.
That's not happening.
That red text one is just died. But red items are legendaries. Purple items are uniques. And I haven't been getting all that lucky with the uniques and legendaries. Yes. Wolcen, no, you don't. I mean, Wolcen's not an open world game, so you don't have to worry about not knowing where to go. It seems kind of crazy. The maps, this particular map is kind of big, but there's ARPGs in general are typically very, very, very linear. With Grim Dawn being the exception to that rule. I mean, even Path of Exile, Diablo, yes, it tells you exactly where you need to go on every map. You cannot get lost. But, speaking of legendaries, but you can't get lost in this game, even if you try to. I like having that tracking beacon that you see up there in my map, simply because I know which way not to go, because I like to explore the entire map and see and make sure I get maximum amount of loot. That is how I play. Alright, let's see if this is any good. Stats look good. But it does not help my stats. No, I don't like getting stuck either, though. I can't stand it. There's one game that I'm playing. It's a Japanese RPG, and it's called Tales of Zestiria. And I get stuck in that game all the time because it's like, you need to go to this place and you have no idea where that place is or how to get there, and the only time it gives you any type of map marker is if you're already on the correct map, which you could be 2-3 maps away, and that sucks. I'm glad they fixed it in other later Tales games.
That's not happening.
Alright, no problem. Again, thanks for watching, and I've got lots of videos on here. I've also got a ranged build if you're interested on my channel, so check it out. That one I really like, but I also did have some help with it in terms of the choosing of the abilities, but it got me through my first playthrough, and I love it. The abilities that I chose, but the passives and the attributes and stuff like that I did on my own. So, and also the ability passives, or most of them, I chose on my own as well. So, yep, check it out.
We're being tailed. We're running out of time. By the...
Yeah, no story.
Child,
I already went through this story.
I believe in you. Teach them the true meaning of fury.
Nope, can't go up here yet. I will teach them the true meaning of fury. Alright, so since this video was really intended to be an update on the build itself, and not really a let's play, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream now. I would normally do videos, but for some reason this game doesn't like to be just like videoed. I don't know, it's weird. It gets real choppy and messed up, so it's honestly been a lot easier to just stream it, no matter how long the actual video is. But I hope you did enjoy this video, and I hope you can learn from it. I really enjoy this build. and I would say that I'm going to go ahead and stream the end boss fight, but I will not because it's a spoiler. So, and I don't like to post a whole lot of spoilers. But what I will do, even though I did post the actual fight during a Let's Play, if you will, previously, I get it. But I don't like to do it when I'm just sharing build information. So, and that's really what I'm doing now, since I've already streamed pretty much most of the game. I'm only sharing now kind of build information as I go forward, so that way you can see how it progresses, see if it's still a viable option, and whether to help you decide whether or not you want to use it. So follow me more. I definitely want to get into a build that has to do with a sword and board or a hammer and board type of ability, specifically with sacred damage. So eventually I will start to build this and see how it goes. I might get into it maybe sometime today, but I would like to finish Act 3 first before I do get too much into it. But like I said, I hope you like this video, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please post it in the comment section below. And until next time, Horsemen out!